Alright, so here at Sebring for a test. I'm running the VRS 25 Season 1 LMP2 setup from, it's in Garage 61 in the setups folder. I'm going to set it up to do full fuel so that way you can get like a realistic idea of how it's going to handle. And obviously just keep in mind as it gets lighter and lighter, it gets a little bit more twitchy on corner exit, but it's manageable. So we're going to go full fuel. We're running medium brake pads. It's good setup there. And let me just make sure we're recording. And we are. Hop in the car. Fire the car up. Now Sebring, full for backstory, it was originally an airfield that was built in the 1940s for World War II, and they used to build, I think, bombers here and stuff like that. But the majority of the main straightaway and the back straightaway are on old concrete, it's old concrete like airport tarmac, so you can see all the squares and stuff here. It's very bumpy, it's very unforgiving, but it's certainly manageable. So just keep that in mind when you're in this section and coming, and you're kind of in the, maybe turn 14 through 16 complex. The whole track over there is on this old tarmac, all right? The rest of the track is paved and whatnot, so after turn 1, it goes onto a paved section. It's a little bit more forgiving there. It's a little bit more of a normal road course, but everything from turns 14 all the way through turn 1 is on this old concrete tarmac. So pit limiter on. We are going to come out of the pits. Take it easy, up into third. Take it very easy coming out of here. I always leave the pit exit line on. And then we're just going to build up some tire time. I'm going to brake a little early, and I'm braking here, down to second. Turn in, we'll burst the throttle, keep it to the right here. Turn in, it's a late apex. Back on the throttle, and all the way up into fifth. Hug that line, come over. Alright, I'm braking just before the 4 cone. Down to first, turn in, a little bit of trail braking there. Back on the gas. Alright, there's a little bump here, try to shift at the bump. And then another bump here, shift. And then I'm going to brake a little bit early, just because we're on cold tires. Down to second, turn in, back on the gas. And we're going to go around. Short shift here because cold tires, it will step out on you. Back up here, brake at the 3.5 into second, turn in, and watch the curbing on some of these. The curbing is kind of aggressive and it will throw you off and make you spin. Alright, we're kind of back onto that old tarmac surface here, down to third, turn in, just roll it onto the curbs a little bit, back on the gas. Cut over, down to second, and then feather that gas in nice and lightly, back on the rumble strips, and then full speed. You're going to get up into 6th gear here at the end of this. And this turn is a little tricky. I usually tend to let off at about the 3 cone and let it just glide in. And on the brakes, there we go. It'll get better with tire temps come up. Back on the gas. And this section you're just going to be very, very sensitive to the gas pedal. Again, very bumpy. You can see the car bouncing around everywhere. Alright, and now we're going to look for that little indentation in the corner. Down into 4th. Just let it glide through there. Alright, then we're going to brake right now. Down to second. Feed it in. Come on the gas a little bit. Back over to the right. Back on the gas. We're going to brake it a little bit later here, right at the 4 line, down to first, roll it in. It's okay to clip the dirt just a little bit there, but not too much, you'll get off track. And then shift. If you don't shift before that bump, it kind of unsettles the car a little bit. Alright, and now we're going to brake at the 3.5 cone into second. Now full throttle through here, full throttle, drift out a little bit. And we're going to brake at the 3.5. aggressive here and hit this. And then just really set yourself up for this turn. Brake at the 3 cone, down to third. Roll it onto the curbs, onto the gas. Into second. Back on the gas. A little squirrely there. That last corner is a corner where the car gets a little bit unsettled. It will drift a little bit. So you'll feel a little bit of a loose rear end going through there. And now we're going to brake at the 2 cone here. Off the gas, on the brake. Tie it in, tight. Roll it out, full throttle. That was a 155.4. 155.44. Again, turn in now, down to fourth. Let it just glide, back on the gas. And brake. Just keep an eye on my throttle and brake traces. Brake, turn in, late apex, on the gas. Got into 6th there. If you go too deep, you're gonna lock up. So you just gotta keep that in mind. So I usually brake just at that 4 cone. Anything after that, you're really standing on the brakes. You're just gonna lock up at the end of it. And we're gonna brake now. So yeah, so the rest of this track right now, it's, like I said, it's pretty smooth. And then once you get over here, it usually starts getting a little more, you know, tarmac-y. Like right there, that's tarmac. But definitely over here is when it starts getting a little bumpier. The car just gets a little unsettled. And brake into 3rd, roll it up on the curb. Feather it on. There we go. Yeah, this next turn is really the hardest. That last section and this section I think are the hardest. Turn 1, you get used to it. Just let the car just do the work. Let that mechanical grip kind of take over and just roll back on. Alright, one more. 154.70. Just letting the car just do the work there again. Nope, not really touching the brake very much. And we're going to brake at the 3 line into 2nd. Bring it back over to the right. Brake, late apex. Let go all the way out to the curb. And we're going to brake now. Right at the 4 cone. Roll it in, onto the curb, back on the gas, a little dirt there, and then we want to brake on that section, or I'm sorry, shift on that section. Now we're going to brake now, down to 2nd, roll it in, back on the gas, full throttle, and we're going to brake now, 2nd, full throttle, a little bit of a drift there. Brake now, roll it up onto the curb. Don't get too much of the inside curve, the car will catch it and it will spin you. We're going to brake now. Roll it in, let the car grip, feather that gas. There we go. And that's Sebring.
Your last lap was 154.69. That's your fastest lap.
Alright, so now we're going to go to the replay and I'll show you and I'll do some narration here. Alright. So we are ready. Let me take off my gloves. All right. So we're gonna push play at the start. Or actually, I'm gonna back it up just a little bit here. That way we I have some time to think and talk here. So here we go. So start finish line. Oh, hold on. Start finish line. All right. And you want to turn it right here. So like right here, you can see how the angle of the wall changes, right? So that's your turn-in point, right? So you're going to turn in here, and I'm just going to go very slowly. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Alright, so it's, we're going to turn in, actually I'm already starting to turn in now, and we are going to turn in down to 5th, and then by the time we hit the apex, we're going to be in 4th gear, but we're not really braking. Look at the brakes down here. Like we're barely touching the brakes. We're just letting the car kind of glide through the apex, and now we're back on the gas, all the way out to the right. Alright, next braking point right here. Alright, so I'm just going to back it up just a little bit. I'm braking pretty much at the start. Actually, is it the start of this access road? No, it's where the pavement changes colors. So I'm essentially starting to brake right here. Yep, we're coming on the brakes. And again, not super hard on the brakes, about 80% or so. Alright, we're coming down here. We're dropping down from 4th gear into 2nd. So 2nd gear, and I turn in early here. It's a little bit of an early apex because you have to be set up for the right kink right here. So you're just going to come in, you're turning in, you're going to hit just a tiny bit of that curb. You're going to get back on the gas, just half throttle through here. I attacked the right curb just a little bit, helps the car rotate, and then I'm going to stay as far to the right as I can, and right about there at the end of the rumble strip I'm braking, it's a late apex, looking at the apex, turning in, still turning in, right, and we are going to get back on the gas here just ever so lightly, and we're going to roll the car out to the right side of the track. It's I don't really hit the curb too much here. I find it slows you down a little bit, but you know, just a little bit of this rumble strip right here is fine. And now we're back on the gas. So now we're in the turn 6 here. Just keep it tight. We're going into 7. You're gonna be, if you hit 6th gear, that's fine. And we're going to start the braking here. So I'm braking. Let's see here. I'm braking just ahead of, I'd say that's what, 15 feet maybe ahead of the 4-cone. So we're going to brake. We're going from 6th to 5th to 4th to 3rd to 2nd. And then pretty much by the time you hit here, you should be in 1st gear. And now I'm starting to roll off that brake. I'm turning in. I'm attacking that inside curbing. And those new 3D curbs look great, by the way. And you can really notice them here. Alright, and you're going to start getting back on throttle right about now. And that's going to help you rotate the rear end a little bit. And again, it's okay if you get a little bit of dirt here. Just try not to get more than one tire on here, because if you do, it's an off track. But just try to stay as tight to that curb as you can. And you're going to come back on the gas. And we're at full throttle now. Hit that curb, hit the curb on the right. And again, shift here, otherwise the car unsettles a little bit. Shift again. Alright, going to this. Alright, so this, we're going to brake about, I bet you about right here is where I start to really brake. So, we're coming out, actually, we're coming off the gas just ahead of the 4-cone. I've already started braking. I'm braking. This is a 2nd gear turn, so you're going down from 4th gear into 2nd. Alright, keep turning in. Kind of a late apex too on this one. And you're going to turn in. You're going to just ever so slightly bump that curb. And you're already back on the gas right about now. We're back on the gas. Alright, and just kind of, I let it kind of come out just about the middle of the track here, because you want to be set up for that next turn. Alright? Inside, full throttle here, full throttle. All right, and now we're here. So this is turn. This is gonna be turn 13. So we're gonna brake. We're braking just ahead of the 3 cone. All right, and this is also 4th gear down to 2nd. So down to 2nd gear. A little bit of an earlier apex on this one, so we're gonna drift in just a little bit, and we're just gonna barely tap that inside curb. We're just gonna get on just a little bit, and we are going to drift a little bit wide here. Not too wide. This is like where I oversteered a little bit, but typically I'm up onto those curbing a little bit on the outside of the turn. And now we're going into turn 14, flat out. Hit the inside curb. Hit the inside curb. Set yourself up for this next one. All right, and this one's really tricky because it kind of feels like an off-camber turn a little bit. It's flat. Don't get me wrong, it's flat, but it's a very unsettling turn, and it's very like it's very how do I put this? It looks a lot easier than it is. So we're going to come in here. I've already started braking. Actually, let's back it up just a little bit. So pretty much right when you see that blue marker, you're just going to tap those brakes just ever so slightly. I think maximum force here I'm doing, about 80% here, very quickly. All right, and then we're going to go down. I think we're in 5th gear at the beginning of this. We're going to drop it down to 3rd. And you're going to turn in a little early, and you're just going to get it up onto that curbing. Just get that right tire up onto the curbing there, right? And just don't go too deep into it, because again it'll cause the front end to bite, and then you'll go into the wall. And then just let it drift out into that opposite side a little bit, and then you're going to get up on the left curbing. Again, you're pretty much in 3rd gear for this whole section here. All right, back up on the curbing, and then you're going to go a little bit to the left, and you're going to come out just a little bit, and when you see the apex of that turn, you're going to turn in down to 2nd, and you're just going to feather that throttle just ever so slightly as you get to the apex and get that rear end to rotate around. You're just going to let it just rotate and rotate, and if you hit it right, you should find yourself out onto the outside rumble strips, pretty much halfway out there. Car gets a little bit light going over the strips, so just keep, just stay on it. And now we're going down into turn 17. So you're going to be going all the way up into 6th gear here. Alright, pro tip. So keep in mind there's a lot of drag on these cars, right? They produce a lot of downforce, right? So use that to your advantage here. I find that if I'm not on the gas and I just let it glide into the braking zone here, I feel like the car is that much easier under braking. So we're just going to go slowly here, and we're still full throttle. And about now I'm going to come off the gas, okay? And I'm starting to brake in between the 2 cone and the 1 cone, right? So I'm braking, and I'm kind of braking going straight out here. As you see, I'm aiming for those 2 cones right here, all right? So we're braking, I'm braking, turning in. All right, now you see like the first apex here. You're going to start really tucking it in. You're in 3rd gear here. Tucking it in. Keep it going. Stay as tight as you can down there. Back on the gas just a little bit. Start feathering that gas pedal. Just keep the revs up a little bit. And then you're going to keep going through. All right, you're going to see the 2nd apex. By now you should be starting to get back on the gas completely. And your target is pretty much these palm trees and these trees over here. That's where you want to be on corner exit. So you're going to go all the way out. It's just gonna slide out. It's pretty much sliding its way through here. It's going to feel really weird, especially with all the bumps. And you're just going to be back on the gas. It's okay if you go all the way to the right here. There's a little bit of an incline here that will save you a little bit. And then we're full throttle back through start finish. And that's Sebring.